not do the official start until we get going here. And I'm just wondering what we're transmitting right now. So we'll be starting up here in about a minute. Great. Oh, Mike Watch just said it is 1 o'clock.
Says Mike is muted.
Your mic is muted, yes, because you're coming through my microphone system. So shall we go ahead and
Okay.
get ready to get on a roll?
Okay. You want me to hit the 30 seconds?
Let's go ahead and count down.
All right.
Here we go. Hello, this is Michael here with California Travel Videos, and welcome to a happy, what day of the month is this? The 16th of October. Man, the year is going by quickly. Are you with me, Grace?
I'm with you, but it looks like YouTube is a little delayed.
Okay, so we do have a YouTube that is transmitting. Do we have any audio? I wonder about the audio. This is also exciting when we get these things going, but hey, we're doing the best we can with the tools we have, and hopefully that you can hear us, and that we'll have some visitors be joining us. So, Grace, what's our conversation today?
Today we are talking about travel. We're talking about destination and your favorite spots. So we're looking forward to you engaging and sharing with us.
Absolutely. So, caring is sharing, or sharing is caring. Yeah, that's it. Both ways it works. So, yeah, we thought on today's show what we'd do would be to speak a little bit about your favorite destinations. But it doesn't have to even be the destinations. It could be your favorite type of place to stay, state parks, BLM land, stealth camping.
Hotels.
Hotels is fine. Cruise ships, that's right. Why not?
Regents, Crystal.
Going out of this world in a rocket ship, spaceship, if you will. What else, Grace? Obviously, some people like to kind of rough it. You know, our younger days might be tent camping or backpacking. You know, who knows? There's no right answer to these types of questions. And some people like, oh, I like a membership campground. Camp Coast to Coast, Thousand Trails. Encore, I think, is one. Also, there's probably handfuls of those. So we'll kind of go through what some of our thoughts are, and talk a little bit about our around the United States in 90 days. Oops, it went to 80 days, didn't it?
It did. It dropped down by 10 days. And we do want to do a little, a couple things in advance here. One is that we've been having a little bit of in and out intermittent internet issues. So
In and out, that's us.
yeah, it looks like the feed is quite delayed. We're not sure how the sound is. Can you let us know or give us any thumbs up if you can hear the sound?
Mm-hmm.
And also, well, should we do our official opening and then I'll get to that?
Do we do an official opening?
We have an official. Go ahead.
Okay, the official opening? I think I know what it is. 5, 4, 3. Hi, I'm Michael.
And I'm Grace.
And we're California Travel Videos. Okay, we got that protocol out of the
Alrighty.
way.
And
Good
with
job,
that-
honey.
Thank you. And with that said, hi, Bob's Adventure. So happy to have you here.
Bob Adventure.
Yeah, I
Good
hope
to
you're
see you,
hearing
Bob.
us okay. And we forgot last week to do the Amazon drawing. So we are going to probably within the first 10 or 15 minutes do last week's. And then we will end our show today doing this week's. And yay, Bob says he can hear us.
Good, that's a good start. Well, hey, Bob, you may be, depending on how many other people, you may be in like Flint. We'll see.
Right.
Hopefully we get some other people come in shortly. This is kind of a challenging time, isn't it? Depends on where you're at. Now, I'm trying to remember, Bob, where are you at? I'm trying to think, I don't think he's on the left coast like us. Oregon, Washington. I do not recall where you, maybe it's a secret. Maybe I wasn't supposed to know where you live in. Well, which geographical area, if you can narrow it down, that'd be kind of cool to know. And so, and obviously where you live affects probably where you go. If you're like us, like, where do we go? Oh, California Travel Videos. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're about 30 miles north of San Francisco, and Actually, it goes San Francisco City and County, right? The same city and county. That's kind of rare, isn't it, Grace?
Bob's in Tacoma, Washington. We love
I
Washington.
thought it was on the left coast somewhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
we might have to go and see you. Hopefully this spring we'll get out of here.
That would be so lovely. We just keep saying we got to get away.
Hmm.
And just kind of give you a little tip on where we're going. I think it's we're going to do a little belated getaway for our 5 year anniversary. We're going to do it on 10/4, which is when we got married on October 4th. Easy one for us men to remember. But then there were the fires, and it didn't look like it was going to come to our part of Sonoma County. But up north, about 4 years in a row, my mom's been batting 1,000, and I'm up in the Santa Rosa area to the east of it, excuse me, in Oakmont. They've had the 3,000 retirees, their homes, I should say, probably more like 5,000 of them, have to evacuate. And they did for a week with us, right?
Yes.
Bottom line, so we weren't able to go on our getaway on the 4th, but we're going to go on another week or so, not that far away. And we're going to go up to the Redwoods at I want to say Handley, but I think it's Handy Redwood State Park. So we love to get in the Redwoods, and especially this time of year. You know, the weather in October, you just don't know here in the California area. Sometimes it's Indian summers. But when you get into the Redwoods, you can be up there at the big redwoods up north by Garberville, and as soon as you get into Standish Hickey redwoods, the temperature drops about 25 degrees. And I'm
Always.
not joking. I mean, we were there and the air conditioner was on. We were in a hotel, and the temperature was 100 during the day, and we thought, why are we doing a getaway trip up here when in Petaluma it was only 85?
Right.
But as soon as we got in the redwoods 2 or 3 miles north, the temperature was in the mid 70s. So nature's foliage is a good thing, isn't it, Grace?
It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. That's what we did even on our trip. We always, what's the word I'm looking for? We looked for and try to stay in below 80 degrees. So if it was getting hot, we'd go up to the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, or somewhere where it was a lot cooler.
And look at Bob. He says, I will be having a van by spring. He will definitely be a van venture person then, won't he?
Is that his way of saying when we go to see him, he's not going to be there?
Or maybe we can tag along,
Maybe.
be a, like little mini caravan or something. I'm not
Right.
sure where you want to go, but and that brings up a good point. We said where to go, the destination, or how to go, but when to go is a big deal too. So, Grace, what's your favorite time? Well, we did it on our 40 questions, didn't we? Your favorite time of year. But share with people here. When's your favorite
I
time to
love
get out?
autumn because the colors are so vivid and it's cooler weather. But spring is probably my favorite. Nice, fresh
Mm.
green grass and rainbows.
But on that note, let's think about it. Would you say that would be the same time we would like to travel? Because it doesn't, might be a favorite time of year, but maybe your favorite time of year is to work in the garden or something, and your travel time is not those times. So when is your favorite travel time of the year? I know I'm hearing Bob says he likes the spring. When
A-
do you like to go?
Anytime, anytime. In the winter, I like to go back down to like Mexico or San Diego or Arizona. Lake Havasu is beautiful in the winter.
That's true. That's a very good point. And once you got the Siberian Husky, Kaliki, don't you know, is that he likes to go in the wintertime, obviously. Summer is not his favorite time, at least unless we're up in the mountains, which we do. So that's another way of getting around the problems. And we were going around the U.S. in 80 plus days. And it got to be some of the states where, well, yep, we left at the August, and in October, it's in September for sure. It was still pretty warmish as we rounded the East Coast. We started, didn't quite make it up to Bob's area as much as we wanted to go to Oregon and Washington. We went through Nevada and then just started cutting to Idaho. But those are the two states we need to get stickers on our map, don't we?
Definitely. That's why we want to go up there, and Bob's down for a caravan. Give us a tour.
Hey, Bob.
So,
All
what's some of
right.
the highlights that you would show us in Washington?
or wherever you want to go. Maybe he
True.
just
And
wants to get out of Dodge. It might be that. Well, here's the thing, though. At least my perspective on this, and I love to see what the smart money does, and that is to read up on what other people are doing. And one of them is they say your first trip out, do a shakedown. Don't go across the country.
always.
Well, most always. When we were at Genoa, Nevada, my daughter and son-in-law have a timeshare there, and they go every other year. And so we were very near there at an RV park. And one of the people there said, "Oh yeah, he took his, I don't know how many feet his fifth wheel was, but it's like 2,000 miles. He's left from Texas, and he went 2,000 miles on a shakedown." I'm thinking, "Are you kidding?" He says, "Well, I've got the tools and the license." I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I've gone through the mechanics course to be licensed for working RVs." I'm thinking, well, yeah, you may have been through training, but are you really that good? Well, it turned out he also worked in the mines. He was a maintenance supervisor, and he knew his stuff. And when it came to a Dometic or what type of refrigerator might be in there, he could do it all. He had all the tools. I thought, so you work on them? He said, well, I'm not sure I'm going to work on them. I just wanted to be self-sufficient. I thought, wow, this is a man's man.
So Bob is telling us that there are plenty of things to do up there in the Washington area. I think we're quite a bit delayed. Did you want to join us and come on in?
Yeah, Bob, if you'd like to, why don't you give him the link, and we'd be happy to have him join us, and then he could be in the flesh in real time, and then we could do it if you want to, Bob. No pressure there, but if you have a time and you want to drop in, even if it's just for a bit, that'd be good to have. Oh, who would interview here? Who, honey? It's like he's the master interviewer. For those of you who don't know, Bob's adventure is. I'm not sure how many he's doing a week. He was doing more than one a day, I think, on some days. So that gets to be a little grueling after a while, but it's certainly a good way to go ahead and grow your audience, get all the view hours and everything. And so as you get passionate about it, it's great to share what you can learn from other RVers or travelers or just people who are interested in the whole thing. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to be going out on the road yourself, especially these days. I mean, obviously, the COVID-19 has affected lots of industries. And who would have thought that it would have made a big resurgence for RVers?
A lot. I mean, a lot of people are now in an RV. It's really been a challenge to try
Hmm.
to find availability and spots open and affordable.
So, and the screen that's Grace is on over there is the one I'm normally at my workstation. But yeah, it's interesting. I was just looking at an article. I don't know if it was an RV Village or one of those, but it was talking about, and I think they'd interviewed 20 leaders in the industry about what they foresee in 2021, which is really a good topic, isn't it, Grace? We should maybe try that on another show.
Definitely.
But it is kind of interesting. You do kind of wonder, is like what's coming down the pipe in terms of with all these people that are buying RVs this year. Demand and purchases are up well over 50%. And some of the, oh, I won't say their names, but some of the big people, companies out there, they have the big 30-foot flag that's flying out there, Camp World. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, they just don't have that much inventory. It's all being bought up, which is always tough to buy then because when it's a seller's market, then you may not get as much of a deal or, just be wary if you're going to be buying it now. But the question is next year, will a lot of people be selling where they say, well, I couldn't travel, via air or cruise ship or whatever. So now you know, the RV is just sitting there eating hay,
Yeah,
so to speak.
that's a really good point. There are a lot of different ways of traveling because I was thinking more in terms of with children, they're not able to go to school or to go bowling or to go to the movies or play sports. But another factor coming into play is there's going to be people apprehensive to fly on a plane, to stay in a hotel, to take a cruise ship, obviously. So that's probably really driven up the demand as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. You kind of wonder about what is going to happen with the, sometimes you are your own worst enemy. Not that we are, but we get, well, I'll tell you, and I get a little far afield, but hopefully just for a second. And that is, somebody asked me the other day, are you going to get a vaccine? Because I'm pro vaccines, but I thought for the COVID 19, if they're not going through the normal due diligence, this is on, I can't think of the words, but, warp speed, I think it's called. Yeah, that's it. Warp speed projects. Yeah, I'll maybe wait just a little bit for that vaccine. And I'm sure that they wouldn't offer it to me first anyway. They should give it to the people who have the greatest need. I would think. Who would you say should get a shot first, Grace? First responders?
I don't know, people over 70? No.
Yeah, people. Hey, guilty as charged.
No, I'm definitely, once it's been tested and approved, and showing that it is going to be beneficial, I would say the first responders should be first,
Yeah,
yes.
and nurses for sure, doctors, those people. It's like
Firemen,
goodness. Firemen, yeah,
police.
please, yeah, they definitely give it to them first. So, but aside from that, is that people, whether it's just going out in your RV or going on a plane or things like that, is that some people will be cautious. So that'll be interesting to see as we go into next year. So stay tuned on that. But going back now in terms of, so we've got the macro factors like what's going on with the environment, the economy. Oh, that. So the stock market's high. It's been there for what, a couple of years. Higher, highest. So that's good news, especially if you have money in stocks or business seems to be getting things going. Although with the COVID, we know that it's been a very challenging. So for some people, they're just like, hey, if I'm out of the market and I've got a little bit of a nest egg, I'm just going to do some traveling as best I can. So, and then the time of year, the weather. We also do by another dimension, and that, Grace, is the time of the week. Tell them
Yeah.
about how we handle the time of the week.
Well, we have been retired now, Michael, for several years, myself for about four. And we noticed that it was always a lot harder and more difficult to get reservations on the weekend. So we normally like to go out on a Sunday and come home like a Wednesday or Thursday when we're doing more of our what we
Mm-hmm.
call weekend gigs.
Yeah, and we do, as a for instance, being near the ocean, if we're just doing a couple day gig, and we'll get into that in terms of how big is your RV. I think make a big determinant here is that it's easy for us to be mobile, and so because of that, we don't normally stay at a place. I shouldn't say. Well, maybe of the hundreds of times we've been out, maybe a couple times we've been in a place for more than a week. It's usually quartzsite for a meetup, and so yeah, I think is that when we go out on a Sunday, if we're just going to the ocean, which is a great place for us to travel, being nearby. If we go up the coast, it might be, getting up towards Bob's area, close to the Oregon border. It might be the better part of 200 miles, but still, pretty easy to get around in those places. If we go the other direction, we're going east, we can go to the Sierras and also wonderful up there. Once you get above 4,000 feet, even if it's in the summertime, it works really well. But what are your thoughts on this, Grace?
I'm game with anywhere, anytime, any place. Well, okay.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And we do in our RV, we have an air conditioner, and I guess it's 28 gallons of propane. Uh, I don't think we've ever used half of our propane tank on any trip, even a
No.
quarter of it.
Well, no, on the 3 month one, we filled up once, I think.
Oh, sure. When you're gone 3 months, yeah, that's
But
a
isn't
good
that the
point.
only? I think we filled up once. It
I
was
think we
near
did.
Texas.
Yeah, I think we did. And I don't know if we even had to, but I get to half or less. So said, okay, let's fill it up again. But of course, we didn't use the air conditioner that much. Normally, our um, method of travel, we would go to a campground or an RV park. And if it was a state campground, especially, man, New York, excuse me, it kicks, well, I won't say AWS, it kicks tail, right? I mean, the price. What did we pay for campgrounds? It was like
Um,
25 to $30.
they're not expensive at all. It's very family friendly in upstate New York, especially. There's a lot of state parks, and they all offer showers and electrical hookup, and $25 a night, maybe.
Yeah. In fact,
And
go ahead and talk
beautiful.
for a second. I'm just right around the corner. I've got my hat.
Okay, well, for our travel, some of our highlights on our trip were the parks in upstate New York. I absolutely am a huge fan of one called Fillmore Glen. I used to camp there when I was a kid with my grandma. And then there's Letchworth, and
Hey,
then
look at my hat.
There it is,
Letchworth.
beautiful. It's a one waterfall, but it comes in three tiers. There's the upper, the middle, and then the lower. And then my favorite, though, and this is what's one of the things we wanted to talk about is what's on your bucket list. Um, and on Instagram several years ago for photographer, I found a Watkins Glen reference, and I saw the waterfalls, and there was something like 17 or 19 within this glen. What is it called, honey?
Watkins
Well, it's a glen, but what is
Glen.
it? It's like a
Oh, a glen is like
gorge.
a gorge,
Like a
yes. Oh,
gorge,
that's
yeah.
right. In fact, I had never heard that until you'd mentioned. Then there was another glen, and it's like, what's this thing about glen? I had to look it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
Watkins Glen,
gorge.
and it's absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. So that was on my bucket list for probably about 5 years. And when we were planning this trip, that was one of the spots I put in that was mandated. We had to go, and I think that was $20 a night. Just incredible.
Yeah, it is great. And so, obviously there, then we're looking for something where we can hook up to electricity, and not so much for air conditioning. You get those places like that, and there's enough foliage. It's not going to normally be very hot. And we started in August and got there in September, I guess it was. It took about a month, better
Yeah,
part of to get
yeah,
across.
and it wasn't too humid either. That's what I was surprised because
Yeah,
everybody would say, "Oh, it's going to be really humid," but it wasn't bad at all.
we didn't hit it bad at all. But as we started going down through the eastern states, like around Washington, D.C., I can remember we don't normally go to a KOA campground, but hey, it was a commutable distance to get to
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. No, honey, we're in Washington,
Oh,
D.C.
okay,
It's a
okay.
commutable
Excuse
distance
me.
to, I was going to say, the Washington
There.
Mall, I think. I don't know why they call it the mall. It's not like a mall, but the square in Washington, D.C. And so, yeah, we took an Uber for a bit of it and then got on the Metropolitan Transit Authority, the MTA. And that worked out real nicely, didn't it?
Yes, and it was so easy to travel these days having smartphones with us. Michael's mother had a Airstream, and they used to go out quite often, but they would plan their trips. They actually had this complete itinerary that they would follow, and they had their friends, and they all had their phone numbers, and if they got lost or separated, they'd wait for each other. And now it was Michael, myself, and our, two smartphones and tablets.
Hmm. So the Willie Bynum, I think it is. I want to say Biner, but I think it's Wynam. Willie Bynum, I think, was the first creator or the owner of the Airstream. And so the Willie Bynum Club, you see them with the 4 or 5 digit numbers on top of the Airstream, and they get out their books and like, oh, it's 2758. It's the Nisslers from Redding, California, where they were from, where I grew up. And so, yeah, they have that way of knowing who one another are if they're in that club. And those are the ones and there's other clubs, like certainly Winnebago and, geez, do you think maybe the Previs, the ones that are $1 million or more, do you think they have a club? I think they have a club. But some of them, even within like Winnebago, the Class C's, I'm trying to think of the names of the different models. There's about 3 or 4 different models of them, but they have them for clubs within a club. And so the Airstreamers, yeah, they were very well organized and they would do things normally as a pack, kind of like what Bob and we talked about caravanning. And so there's a lot of us streamers that are looking forward to going to Quartzsite and having in the Bureau of Land Management area, having kind of our own little hangout area. People in January. Well, I'm going to go back again to my folks. So back 30, 40 years ago, they would go down with the snowbirds down to that area and they would go be rock hounders, get a little pick out there and, start getting some great rocks and polishing stones and the rest. And eventually it got to be so many RVers would be there, it became like the RVers were more than the snowbirds for the rockhounds. So yeah, that's what they have now. And normally it's what, the fourth week in January, isn't it, honey? Down in Quartzsite.
I just know it's January. It seems like it's mid-January.
I
I don't
think
know.
later.
I
Yeah.
know we went one time. Weren't we gone for close to 3 weeks? I think because
Wow.
we did the San Diego as well.
Yeah, that's right. So you might. That's a good point. We did it 2+ weeks on that one. So and a lot of people. This is something Grace and I have. We don't have the guts yet, but if we were with another group, we would have the guts. You know what I'm talking about? What I'm
Yeah,
going to
I
say?
know.
Go ahead.
To go into Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some like okay. I don't know. It's about 50, 60 miles past Quartzsite, which is on Interstate 10. You know, the freeways 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, and so on. So Interstate 10, if you go south where Quartzsite is, about 50, 60 miles, you get to Yuma.
Yuma, that's
And
right.
just on the other side of Yuma is, what do people go there for, Grace?
Their medication.
Medication and
Dentist.
dental work. And you
Hey,
can get
maybe
it
I'll be
for.
going this year.
That's a possibility, yeah. In fact, I do see in some groups, like if you go into Facebook groups or RV village groups where you want to learn about where to go, you can also learn is like, hey, I want to do some dental work. Which ones do you recommend? I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos on that also for where people do and how it works out for them.
Hi, Maggie. Welcome. She says, hi there, you two. Not a traveler, just like watching you all explore.
That is
Well,
so
we
good.
love exploring, and we thank you for watching us.
Yes, and maybe you can share with us a little bit about your travel. This does not have to be RVing, but maybe your idea of getting away is kind of like what my 93-year-old mother does now is she'll turn on the TV, a recorded TiVo program or whatever, Rick Steves, I don't know who, but she will live vicariously through others. Although up till about a year ago, man, she was spending my inheritance. She was like enjoying the travel in the Regent cruise line and had some wonderful cruises
Yeah.
and brought us along on a
Yes,
couple,
she
didn't
did.
it?
The
Yes.
Alaska was phenomenal.
What happened, in fact, 5 years ago, around October, not October, excuse me, a couple months before, what did we do with her? Where did we go?
We went to Alaska,
Alaska. That's right.
Yeah.
5 years ago we did.
where
And
Michael got me a piece of ice.
well, I didn't realize that was. I thought they had a lot of snow and ice up in Alaska. But yeah, I gave her a chunk of ice there and got down on my knees in front of my mother, and I made the pitch. Of course, she loves my mom, so she had a hard time saying no. I used my ace in the hole on that one.
Maggie says she's going to let the political people all take a vacation first.
A vaccine.
Oh, the vaccine!
That's like a vacation, a vaccine.
It could be, yes.
But no, that's a good point. Is that, and I want to share a story, Meg. I don't know if you heard this one. I think there's more than a modicum of truth in this, but in World War II, weapons of war were produced fast and furiously then also. It was a warp speed kind of deal. And here at Vallejo, which is it's in the Bay Area, in the bay itself, the northeastern part of the bay, is Vallejo. And they have shipyards there. And these Liberty ships, they were making one a day. And these were big ships, and have many hundreds of people on them. But once you can prefab different things and, you get the assembly line going, you just chunk them out. And I guess that's the way it's going to be with the vaccines too. But, to produce 1 billion vaccines, that's a big number. I mean, just the transporting them, keeping them cold and all that stuff is a whole number deal. But when it came to the submarines, that's where I'm going to go with this, Maggie. And on the submarines, quality is pretty important. You've always got lifeboats or life jackets or whatever on the cruise ship if it's not too cold to water. Nice cruise. That's not a cruise on the Liberty ships. But when the submarines, leaks are not a good thing, or if things don't work. So they said that they would take the builders and let them go on the shakedown. That's like, okay, if you were Thor Industries, with the RVs, and you said, well, okay, you guys that are building these and just whipping them out, you're going to go down take one of these RVs out and take it for a week and make sure everything works out. Well, you'd be a little bit more into quality processes. So, similarly, if the politicians are the first to take the vaccines, and I guess it was Robert Redfield, with the head of the CDC, and Dr. Fauci said we would be the first to take it. So, hey, if they're saying they would take it, then I'll take the ones they have from whichever company that is. But yeah, good point. We do hope that that's going to be good. It says, go Army. I got to get caught up on this conversation here.
Exactly. Maggie's telling us that her home is in Canada, St. Andrews, New Brunswick, Canada.
Wow. Yeah.
And she's actually in one of our favorite places in Ontario.
Yes, indeed.
And we absolutely
loved it.
Love
although we didn't have our RV on that trip, did we?
We did not on that specific trip. We went with Michael for his Rotary the year he was going to be president. And when we went around the United States, we really had thought that we would cross over into Canada, and then time just started going way too quickly, and we were barely going to be able to make our circle and loop all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Next time.
Mm-hmm. We did have our passport, so just in case we wanted to walk, is it the Freedom Bridge, or what's that called there?
I don't know, but it's, to walk over, when I was like 8, way back a long time ago.
Couple years back.
A couple years ago, back in those days, you used to just be able to walk across, and I remember with my grandmother walking across and going and buying a souvenir on the Canadian side, and I think we went into the observation tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Maggie was in the military.
Wonderful. Go Army myself.
Yeah.
I was a 26 Lima 20, by the way, tactical microwave systems repairman. I don't know if I want to say what year it was.
long.
But I didn't think I was going to be going to Vietnam. So if that gives you a thing, I was there for about 10 months.
And probably about the same time I was crossing over the bridge.
That was probably about right, wasn't it? Yes. So yeah.
Maggie, yes, we do love Canada, and it is, I think, absolutely beautiful. And I've found that a lot of the places that have snow in the wintertime seem to have extreme beauty. Like when we were in Lucerne, Switzerland, that was just gorgeous. Or any of these places where they get a lot of water, we start running out. Like right now, our backyard looks like the desert.
Mm-hmm. Native California grasses, as we like to say, the golden state.
Right.
But
brown
it looks kind of brown this time of year.
Yeah.
But the golfers love it, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they're happy. I wonder what they would do in the wintertime if it snowed. They'd probably just, I guess they'd be on...
They hibernate.
Ay.
Yeah.
But then in the springtime, all those holes would fill with water.
Yeah, but they have a way. They dig down fairly deep, and then they have it so that the water drains beneath them. Don't ask me how. I've never taken the classes, so you'd have to ask them. But I think that they're normally pretty good.
We'll have to study our gopher's habitat.
But it does kind of make you wonder, doesn't it? It's like, how do they know exactly how to do the digging? I guess it goes down through. Well, you read those books, didn't you, honey? Tell us about that.
Which books?
About Isla. And Cleanna the caveman and things like that.
Caves.
The Neanderthals.
Yeah, Cleanna the cave.
Well, it's like cave things. Yeah, you inherit the genetics to just know.
Okay.
I mean, some things you watch for sure.
Okay, I'll trust you on that, Michael.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, going back to Canada. I always thought it was off limits sort of this year, but then I saw where some of our friends that we've met down at Quartzsite, where they go each year up to Alaska, I saw they were up there again. So, hey, I guess there is still a possibility to get through back and forth, but I guess generally I don't think that travel is encouraged going cross country these days. But maybe it's better. I'm not sure. Maybe, well, I don't know if Maggie would be in an RV, though, but that's kind of on the fence.
Well, right now, Maggie, are they allowing, my understanding is I have some friends who have grandchildren that live in Canada, and they had to, there's a grandparent permit that you can apply for right now, and they're only accepting so many on visitations, I think, to come like once a year. So what's the limitations on coming into Canada? Curious minds want to know.
I think it's, you have to have a need that's... I thought it was urgent or something, and maybe it's just over some months, and maybe things have lightened. So yeah, we'd be love to hear if you've got some information. But maybe she doesn't have a need to go across the border, so she doesn't know any more than we do. But anyway, I don't know if Bob or others have a thoughts on this, but it's certainly a consideration
Oh, we are
when you want to
allowed now.
travel.
She says we are allowed now.
Oh, good.
So
Hey.
now, is that just to come in for like a couple of days, or is that to come in for like a
Oh,
couple
now see, oh,
months?
Maggie, Grace is always good for follow-up questions. So you've opened the fire hydrant now. That
So,
is a good question, though. So, but I know at one point you had to have an
oh,
urgent need.
you have to have immediate family. You're allowed.
That's it.
You're allowed if you have immediate family.
That sounds right.
Maggie, you are my sister, right?
Sister from another mother.
I've got a few sisters up in Canada, honey. A,
Yeah, you
A,
got to work on yeah.
A. No, it's A.
A, yeah, it's
Well,
normally A.
okay. I know for sure the side on the West Coast, they're always saying A.
A, that's the preferred way. Yeah.
Just for a visit, but not how long. She doesn't know.
Okay.
There's a lot of places in North Canada where they welcome homesteaders. They'll pay you to live there.
And that is how I am here. Not from Canada, but my ancestors on my mother's side are from Canada. So in the 1600s, late 1600s, a French soldier was helping to get established in Quebec. And then later on, the descendants moved to Three Rivers. I don't know if you know where that is, Maggie, but it's getting closer to Minnesota.
Don't you
And
know?
eventually, when Minnesota was admitted to the Union, 1840s, I guess, is that, yeah, on my father's side from Bavaria, they went there. And on my mom's side, they came into the Red River Valley. And so for the next 100 years, that's where the La Coursières, the horsemen, and the Nisslers on my father's side settled, farmers and other, well, mostly farmers. And then my folks in the 50s, they said, you know, we're both teachers. If we're going to get ahead, we're going to go to California. I never regretted that decision because I can remember as a young boy the snow blizzards. I mean, snow would be fun to a degree, but you got many months of snow, and a lot of them you just even can't hardly get out the walkway until you shovel many, many feet of snow. And I'm sure that she knows something about that too.
Oh yeah.
So, at
Yeah.
any rate, yeah, that obviously affects the travel. And some people like snow camping. Go figure. And so, on something like that, it helps to have good insulation. I was watching somebody's video the other day. I don't think I've shared this with you, Grace,
I
but
don't think so.
this is a video where it was about heaters, diesel powered heaters. Have you ever heard such a thing?
Does that go with your inverter?
No, it's not electric power. Well, I mean, you have to have the fan running, but it's for people who have things like sprinters, where you have a diesel engine and then there is a tap on the fuel tank, believe it or not, where you put a circuit with an electric pump and it circulates some diesel into the heater exchanger, which guess where they put it?
Where do they put it?
They put it under the passenger seat. Now, in our Sprinter, we have a 25-foot Class C, and is it Class C or Class C? Class C, and it is a Fleetwood Icon. And so it has the Dodge chassis, 3500, and the engine is a Sprinter 5-cylinder. I forget how many cubic inches it is. But anyway, so the configuration on those are pretty much all the same for all Sprinters. And under the passenger seat is nothing. It's just an open space. In fact, don't tell anybody, but you can get it from behind the seat. And I put a toolbox down there. But yeah, people put this heat exchanger, Grace, and then they say it puts out a prodigious amount of heat, definitely more than enough to heat us. So people that go down in like 5, 10, even below zero, they just have that puppy running, and they are good to go. It's
Maggie.
about $800 unit, by the way.
Okay,
Not
sounds
cheap.
like a possible plan even for our travels, especially like Bryce Canyon because we were really cold up there. Maggie says she is familiar with what you were referring to, that she was actually a military mechanic. She was a mechanic when she was in the military.
Oh, wow. I mean, a mechanic. Man.
So she can keep up with you. She'll have to watch the installing the microwave.
Oh, that. Yes. That was a fun video. You know how things are, Maggie. So often it's sort of like the tip of the iceberg, right? And when I was in electronics in my career, also sometimes is like where there was something in the central office. I worked for AT&T, and you think, well, how come nobody's fixed this? And you go to fix this, and you realize there's some reason where there's some deeper problem. So yeah, sometimes you get surprises, but when it's all completed, it's very satisfying, provided you have the time. And sometimes the moolah, right, the money is associated with
Exactly.
that. But if you're doing it for the Army, um, it's really interesting, just segueing on that for a second, because I have worked for the Naval Air Rework Facility before I went into the military in the civil service. We used to joke about being the simple service. And so I worked on avionics for planes and jets that the military had. And if this was like a depot level maintenance, so I'm sure some of the things Maggie had and all businesses or military have is you have field replaceable units. Some things you can do, and some things that have to go to the next level. Like obviously, when it comes to rebuilding the engine and honing the pistons or things, it's you don't do that out in the field. So yeah, it's really getting back to the RV side of it. Is that we find is that when we're out, like I said, for just a couple day trip, we have one set of accoutrements of things that we bring along, and if we're going to be going out for 3 months, then or even for 2 or 3 weeks, is like okay, we're going to change what's in the cargo bays a little bit. You want to be self-sufficient if you're getting off in the sticks. It's like to loosen up a tire, the lug nuts on a tire. You know, when I had my tires changed when we first bought it, because after about 5 or 6 years, whether you drive it or not, I think, what RV had about 10 or 15,000 miles was all
Yeah,
right when we
it
bought it.
only had like 15,000 miles on it.
Yeah, but the tires after 6 years they just start to rot. Sorry to
Yeah.
say. So, got the tires changed, and when they put it back on, I took my lug wrench, not a speed wrench, or a type of speed wrench, I guess, and I could not turn the lug nuts. And I complained. I said, "You got them too tight." And the owner, a fellow Rotarian, he said, "Michael, that's the number of foot-pounds they need to be. That's what the manufacturer says it needs to be, or it's not going to be a safe vehicle." I was like, "Oh, like that." So okay, I've got Makita this and Makita that. So I got a Makita impact wrench, and it's big. I think it was a $250 impact wrench. But I do have it in case if I do have a breakdown and we don't have internet connection, if there's nobody around, which is not normally our modality, right? We're not normally completely isolated. But if we were,
Right.
that's, well, you're going to have to walk out, or what else could we do besides walking out, Grace?
Hitchhike.
No, come on. What do we have behind our RV?
Our bikes.
Our e-bikes, yes. So we could get on our e-bike, and I guess they're good for about 80 miles, I think, if the battery's charged. So yeah, I guess we could use that too and go find help. But some places, it's not that easy to have AAA or whomever come in.
Well, we got
They
really
may or may
lucky.
not.
I want to take a minute and welcome Lucky. Thanks for being here. We're talking about travel and bucket list destinations. So we'd love to hear yours, where you've been or where you want to go. And on that note, honey, I wanted to remind you when we were spending the night at a casino, we had the dead battery. Remember?
Yeah, in fact, that was only about 60, 70 miles north of us. So we were not that far out of Dodge. It was just, what, a mile or two off of not interstate, no, it was Highway 101. And yeah, it was kind of surprising. I thought, what's with this? But I think what had happened is that, and this is something I'm sure the rest of you RVers, Lucky Dog for sure knows all about this, is that if you have your RV sitting for a while and you don't have it completely shut off, in other words, like the carbon monoxide detector is still taking just a little bit of current, and the battery gets down like 50% or more, and I still have the lead acid batteries on that, it's going to shorten the life on those. So, yeah, and that's for the chassis battery. But if it's connected to the engine battery, anyway, the point being the battery had reached the end of its life, and what did we do?
Well, we got really lucky, first of all, because somebody helped us and gave us a jump so that we
Some,
could get started.
yeah,
And then we went to a nearby store and you changed the battery.
right. So here's the kind of the details, which is it, and I think these are good stories to share about. Well, what when stuff happens, what do we do? And when Maggie was there in the military, it's like it's like the having like what Bob and I talked about, going on caravanning things is helpful to have somebody else. In this case, because a lot of RVer types will like to go to casinos and get a free spot to stay for the evening, we were kind of going through, let's give it a try. Not done this before. And the other person was very helpful. And he had, and I was parked where it wasn't easy for another RV to give a jump with like a 10-foot jump cord. But I was impressed. He had like a 25-foot jumper cable,
Yes.
and it needs to be a very good conductor. It can't be having something like a cable that's oh, like the size of the check, check. Okay, I think we maybe have it. So somehow it changed microphones. I guess I did something. I think when I went to get that cable, I pulled it off and somehow it caused it. Are we back again?
I'm going to try to unmute mine so that they can hear me for a minute.
Well, I think you should be coming through mine. So hold on just a second on that, please. And if it doesn't, then you can try plan B.
Lucky, we keep my mic muted so that it can feed through the headset and go through Michael's. So hopefully you guys can hear us again. It looks like we're back in.
I do believe so.
Woo!
Okay.
Good thing they couldn't hear me
Oh,
talking
and so
about you, honey.
unless it's his wife, I think it's Bob with Lucky Dog. So hi, Bob. I love your channel, by the way. You are one of my heroes. I mean, he's does the drone, the technology, the streaming. He's all that stuff. He is good to go.
I think his wife is joining us today because she said she went through London with her husband. So.
Oh, then Sue is here today. Hey, Sue. She's just like you, because when he's on I guess you'd say it's the control panel. And she's right there on, I think it's the iPad or something is what she uses. But, it's so interesting how many ways that we can do these things. And we, as much as we have all this stuff in front of me, and Grace has plenty there too, when we get on the road, we're going to be doing it again also. And I think that's one thing. We use StreamYard, and that then goes and broadcasts out to YouTube, Facebook, or whatever you want to do. So it's a nice way to have a low footprint.
That sounds like a perfect plan. So I'm more than ready to get back on the road. We're just going to do a couple-day taste test here coming up in the next week or two. And then after that, Michael doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to be really pushing hard to go, go, go.
Hey, Gina. Good
Hi,
to have
Gina.
you all here. So I've got to we've been flapping our jaws so much, which is what we do best, honey. But we want to invite some people in. So Bob, Gina, or Sue. If anybody wants to come in, there is the link. If you'll just click on it, we'll see you come into the waiting green room, and we'll have you up and going in a matter of moments. So that would be good. Yeah, have come in. Good to see you, Gina. I hope life is treating you well today. And I've kind of lost track of what the days of the week is. I think it's Friday today, but man, stuff has been happening for us fast and furiously this week, hasn't it?
It has. If you guys didn't get an opportunity, we took that 40-question challenge, and we put our video up yesterday. So we thank those of you who have watched it and left comments. Much appreciated. And then we also wanted to talk a little bit about your channels, Lucky Dog. Why don't you give us a description of what your channel's about, and we can go ahead and share that with people in the comments.
That would be cool, yes, because Bob has been doing this a while now, and he has a plethora. I don't think I know how to spell that word. I can almost say it. A plethora of different things that he does.
Okay, and do we know what that word means?
Plethora, an abundance,
okay.
A cacophony. I don't know what that one I could not spell at all. A cacophony of things that he does. And so Gina is certainly our rock star out there.
Yeah, we'd have a great time. We had a part for the video that we did where one of the questions is, what was it, tequila, whiskey, or vodka?
Oh,
and
yeah.
And our answer was whiskey, so we wanted to practice on that. And and so Michael's got some nice video of me doing my head banging with my hair all down. So.
Yeah, and Gina, she likes the honey for the honey.
Yeah, you probably would have liked that one. So. Lucky says, thanks for the invite, but I stay behind the camera when I can. I know that feeling. I'm with you there.
It must definitely be Sue then, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's right. It's, what's your favorite movie, Grace?
Which one?
The one from back, 60, 70 years ago, or at least 40. Oz?
Oh, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, trying to bring up my favorite is like.
Well.
What's your favorite food?
But I mean, back in yesteryear, I thought that was one of your favorites.
Oh, it's definitely my childhood favorite movie, probably.
Right, that's what I meant.
Now it's probably all about the Outlanders, which makes me want to go to Scotland.
That is true. Yes. As you see something, and I got to say, that's one thing I love about YouTube or whatever, is once you get to have a media where you can find out about what makes something special, whatever makes it special for you. I'd be curious, Sue with Lucky Dog and others, is what makes a special place for you? Is it a certain site to see? I got to say, we went to Mount Rushmore, checked it off, but we love photography, and there's only one shot. They were under construction. We were kept way back. But you can go a wide or a zoom, but once you've taken the shot, it's not changing. And we go to somewhere like, Grand Canyon. There's lots of shots there, that's for sure. So, some of it is, does the scenery have some variety?
Definitely. And Sue says that Bob does have, and she knows your word well, and she even spelt it,
Oh, wow.
plethora
How about
of
that?
abundance of interest.
Mm-hmm.
He's started his channel as a home brewer, and then RC planes, helicopters, and drones. Oh boy, you guys would get along great. He's got
Mm-hmm.
fish eyes, enjoys doing how to and product review cooking. Oh wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that it's my hat's off to all the people that are like my beloved wife, Grace, that love to cook. And well, I guess it's not your only thing because you like to get out and do artistic things, of course. But yeah, it's great for people to get cooking. And I got my Blackstone grill, so I want to catch up with you
I
guys.
I made pickles this morning, and then I realized something because 2020 has really had a lot of stuff. And so this morning, as I was making my pickles, I had an epiphany. Epiphany. Say it for me. Epiphany.
Epiphany,
Epiphany. I
epiphany.
had a. I'm going to pickle my battles, and that worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a picture of my pickled battles. So look at that. Those are my pickles this morning.
Oh yeah, good. You already got a picture of it. Good for you, honey.
Yeah.
Look at this. Lucky Dog, Cornwall, England is my happy place. My grandfather, born there, was blown away to visit his birthplace and meet cousins there. And the grave of my great great grandfather. My
How
heart is there.
cool.
Well, thank you for sharing
Now,
that, Sue.
what
That
is
is
the
so good to
irony of
hear.
that?
Wow.
I mean, that's almost like destiny for people to just like come together like that and have a
Mm-hmm.
place together.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
It
You are
is.
where you are supposed to be.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things we did in upstate New York is, and one of the graves that I went to go visit was of a distant grandfather, I don't know, probably like 8 times back that served in the War of 1776. So that's always fun to have those family meetings together.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have all these prerequisites. Obviously, our ancestors are a big part of our identity and who we are, what our cultures are, what things we like, and but then some is the restrictions. Like it's good to see that Bob, with Bob's Adventure, is going to have his van up and running by the spring, and Gina had to do some work on her starter. I guess it was, wasn't it, Gina? And so, it's nice when you get these. I don't want to say thorns in your side exactly, but when you have some kind of impediment that keeps you from your full potential, oftentimes, sadly, as we get in the years, it can be a health factor. Even like you just pull your back. I mean, if it happens to me, it's been a while, but a couple days, could be up to 4 days, and it's not been as severe. I think I've learned my ways on not to overdo myself on some things, or somewhat, Grace. I'm still a little bit too much of a young puppy sometimes, aren't I? But yeah, there are these things. Yes, but there are these things where that kind of slow us down. So it's nice when we're running on all cylinders, so to speak, or most of them, and we can kind of let the go into the flow, if you know what I mean.
So we want to do a drawing because we didn't do one
Oh yeah, the
last week,
drawing.
and we want to make sure that we do that this week. So you want to just draw the two right now, honey?
Well, first I want everyone who wants to be in the drawing to put the word comment. Just put the word comment, and then I'll know that you're interested. So I want to know who wants to be in the drawing. We may not have a lot of them. We have good odds today if you'll write the word comment and hit the carriage return in your comment section. And then I think we should have at least 3, though, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think that let's just put them in.
Okay, we just go ahead. Well,
Yeah.
I've got so many comments there.
Okay,
You don't
I
see
can
the
give you the
problem.
names.
It's like some of them might be back 50 or 100 comments later, honey.
Okay, I can tell you the names.
Okay.
Okay, so put in Maggie and put in Lucky and put in Gina and put in Bob's.
Well, we've got a couple Bobs.
Bob's Adventure.
Um, Bob Adventure.
So, but I said put in Lucky, so one will be Bob, one will be Lucky.
Well, I think it's Sue.
I know, but by the name on the screen, honey.
Yeah. Okay. So is that all we have so far? Anybody else wants to get into our
I
contest?
think that's it. It's been a slow day. It must be that Friday afternoon
Well,
TGIF.
but sometimes we have technology issues, if you know what I mean. Don't we all? And so I'm just hoping that we got it. We're on the right channel. A couple of weeks ago, we were on COVID-19 types of things, where to go in the COVID environment, and we had two streams that we thought were going, and everybody was on the wrong one. Our bad. And I think I've got it here. Let's see if I can change my screen, share screen. And which screen am I sharing? I'm sharing this screen, share. And okay, I think we have it up. And we're going to get rid of the lucky dog comment there.
Okay.
And okay, I think we are good to start the spin.
Spin it.
Let's see. Here's the shuffle. I'm going to shuffle a couple
Oh, Maggie
times.
doesn't want to be in there, honey.
Okay, Maggie does not want to be
You don't want free money?
Okay, we've just got 3 so far. Wow. Okay, so not much sorting.
So you stand a 33% chance. Oh, wait. I think there's one other person there. Hold on a second.
Okay, I'll hold up. Done, 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 done. I think that's it, honey. Yep. So this, while she's doing that, this can be $10 on Amazon gift card.
Okay, there's a Rose Queen.
There's a Rose Queen. Yeah, you would like to be on there when there's a Rose Queen. Good one. Okay, comments, honey. Rose Queen 49. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and give it a spin. I'm going to click a couple spins here, get this puppy going, and here she goes. And it is Gina.
Gina, ding, 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 ding.
Okay, Gina, nice show. Well deserved.
Winner, chicken dinner.
That's right. We should tell a little bit more about what Gina is. You are a Band-Aid. Tell us what Band-Aid is, Grace.
A Band-Aid is a supporter. They hold things together. They heal.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess that Gina is also, but then she is a Band-Aid for those who, she doesn't call it a grow channel, but she has a weekly video where people that are, especially if you have less than the monetization threshold, which I think still is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours within a 12-month period. I don't know, there's some sub-qualifications, but yeah, she tries for people that, not only are trying to get to that threshold, but, what are things you would want to see? What are other people in the community? And mostly RVers or travel related, but be sure to go by Gina's site, and if you haven't already subscribed, at least check it out. And she would, I think, appreciate just you dropping by to say hi, even if you don't want anything from her. I think you would enjoy her, the way she shares in the fellowship to bring a community of people together, which is kind of what I think live streaming is all about, isn't it, Grace?
Definitely. It's that network and that connection in the community. So we definitely are very happy to be here and part of your community, and we thank you for having us. So that just about wraps us up for today.
Wow, were we going to cut so early? You didn't want to go 2 hours today, did you? You were talking about just a 1-hour show?
It's a nap day.
So what are we thinking about for our next show? Do you have any thoughts, or does anybody have any input on what would be a good thing for next Friday this time?
Well, we talked about copyright infringements. We thought maybe we'd talk more on that, how to avoid those, or how to get through them quickly if you get them.
That might be a good sub show. I mean, obviously most of the people that are just into travel, they don't want to know how sausage is made, about what are the things that can go with
well, you had mentioned
producers.
You talked about forecasting 2021.
Yeah, I think that's really, if you all like that, I think maybe we would do something where we're taking a look at planning for next year.
Yeah, what some of the forecasters are predicting.
Mm-hmm. And here is who won the contest, Van Life with Gina. Just so you're kind of aware, is where you can find her out on the internet tubes on YouTube. And so that's who she is. So yeah, I guess that let's make that part of next one then is planning for next year. And that might mean new gear. So, that's always a good thing to talk
Boy.
about. Yeah,
Well, we have to get rid of
reviews
some
and
old
gear.
gear first.
So, now that I have the Blackstone grill, I think it does fit in there. In fact, I do have it in there now that I think about it. So we're still good. So, but yeah, in terms of next year, it might be if you have some things you would like to buy, maybe somebody else already owns it, or things that you would like to talk about and share. We'd like to do that. But so it could be about places you want to go, things that you want to do, new rigs that you have or would like to have. In our case, we're very happy with our e-bike. So our 25-foot Class C, along with our two e-bikes, the basic transportation. I don't think there's anything we need, is there, on that department, Grace?
No, I think we're fine on that.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, everything with our space, we're limited to 24 foot in the RV. So if more things go in, some things have to come out. So that's always the payoffs or dividends, or how's that go, honey?
Yeah, well, I guess you're right. You eventually want the dividends, the spoils of the crop, and just like you've been harvesting your crop, but your garden is kind of coming to an end. You got any tomatoes
still
left?
have some tomatoes.
You what?
I still have some tomatoes.
You still have some tomatoes coming,
Yeah, they're coming slowly, but they're coming.
and those are heirloom tomatoes,
Of
the
course.
only types of tomatoes, according to Grace.
The kind that justify tomatoes being classified
Mhm.
as fruit.
Yeah, they are definitely sweet. So, and yeah, when it comes to some of your things that you want for your RV or your travel mode, some of them are pretty small. Some of them are, in fact, virtual. It's just kind of things to put on paper. I like to put things in I add a new contact, but the contact isn't a person. It might be something that's a tip for to remember on the road. Now, I have to know which contact to find it in, but
Right.
however it is you organize things, some of it is just being prepared before you go out on the road. So, but
Maybe
next year we hope that everyone's going to be getting out and doing more RVing or traveling next year, is because I guess that's the ultimate way to overcome prejudice, isn't it? As Mark Twain would say, right? Is that
what is the quote?
I don't remember it, but I have it somewhere up here.
I'll find it.
Okay, Grace
Hold
is
on.
going to have it pulled up, but I think I actually have a little. When we were there I want to say it's Stamford, Connecticut, wherever it was in Connecticut,
Yeah, it
where
was,
his home was.
mm,
Was it Stamford?
no.
No, that's another place. I went on another trip. But anyway, one of the big cities in Connecticut, there where his home was, is that. So it is a great way when you travel to know about cultures and the people and what makes each of us special.
Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it slowly. On these accounts, broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating and one will acquire the earth all of their life.
I'm not sure if we can hear you, Grace. I think something happened to your microphone there.
Yeah, I know.
So
Oh,
anyway,
perfect timing.
it was a good quote. We can find it out
Thanks
there.
so much for being here. We enjoyed you.
I don't think they can hear you, honey, but I'll go ahead and close it off. But we can let you do a farewell or just say it loudly towards my microphone. Or why don't you come on over here to my screen there and pick us up over here,
Okay,
baby.
I'll be right there.
And so here comes Grace as we do the MID sign off. Thank you for being here today. We enjoyed you participating in the show. And Maggie, we thank you for joining us along.
Maggie
Sue
May.
and Bob and Gina, congratulations on winning the $10. Just send us an email. I think I have your email address, or if not, I'll contact you. I know where to find you. So, Grace, what else?
I think that about wraps it up. Again, we thank you for being here. Leave your comments in the video with your name so we can check out your website and let other people know about it as well. So until next time,
Happy trails to
happy
you
trails.
until we meet again.
Bye-bye.
Peace out. Bye for now. Happy trails to you until we're not going to get a copyright strike because I think my voice isn't that great.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. Bye bye.